All-knowing and all-powerful, starting with the elderly wolf uncle chapter 132. Your speed is the fastest in the world, and no one can beat you. Do not worry, quote. Ashley heard the locomotive reluctance and immediately soothed, go and bring the motherland back. Otherwise, the entire company will be irreparably affected. Quote. Locomotive, you don't want your things to be spread out. Opposite side, damn it, got it, I'll go. The locomotive was fierce when he heard this, and gritted his teeth. Phew. The feet suddenly erupted, and the whole person turned into a high-speed afterimage, carrying a strong hurricane towards the company building. Strong and powerful thighs, galloping on land. In the blink of an eye, he had already arrived in front of Water Square and saw Chen Tian standing there, and the motherland people on the ground. Phew. One by one. The locomotive looked at each other and took a deep breath. The next moment, phew, the whole person burst out at full speed and rushed towards Chen Tian. He had also seen the picture of the other party's shot before, so he decided that if he didn't break out at full speed, he couldn't say anything wrong. Airplanes. In his nervous mind, he suddenly found that his speed had actually increased a lot compared to the original. I'm really the fastest. Didn't catch up with me. The locomotive was overjoyed, and most of the tension in his heart disappeared, and Chen Tian hadn't even made any moves at this time. Saving the people of the motherland is a breeze. Thinking. He had already stretched out his dark-skinned hand to the people of his homeland on the ground. However, then, the locomotive found that Chen Tian on the side was smiling, slowly turning his eyes, and aiming at him. Phew. Next second, Chen Tian's figure flashed, and he actually disappeared directly. Where did he go? Seeing this, the locomotive instantly felt like an ice cellar, covered in ice. Even he couldn't see Chen Tian's movement trajectory at all. Just now, the other party seemed to have disappeared directly in front of his eyes. He was horrified. Nope, I'm not the fastest, he's faster than me. The locomotive understood the real situation in an instant. Run, thereupon, that's all that thought left in his mind. Phew. The locomotive, which was already filled with fear in his heart, immediately chose another direction and rushed out. Don't look at the motherland in front of you again. Inside the building. Fuck. Locomotive, what do you mean by this? Ashley saw this scene through the monitor and couldn't help but curse. At the same time, the tracker on the side showed that the locomotive had run a distance of nearly 10,000 meters. That's not right. Then, only then did Ashley notice that Chen Tian had disappeared. Phew. The next moment, Chen Tian appeared in place again, carrying a dying locomotive in his hand. What? Ashley couldn't help but breathe. In a blink of an eye, I looked at the tracker of the locomotive, and the tracker that had originally moved 10,000 meters away was already back on Walt Square in the blink of an eye. Fuck. He is more powerful than the motherland. And is it faster than the locomotive? So what else can I do? What else can we do? Quote. Ashley's heart was about to jump out of her chest, and her face couldn't be whiter. She felt that things were far beyond her control. A sense of powerlessness called despair grabbed her neck, making it impossible for her to speak and breathe. As for all the monitoring staff around, they were all shocked, unable to speak for a long time, and stunned. On Water Square, when Chen Tian carried the locomotive and flashed back to his place again. The rest of the Super 6 members rushed here. They looked at the motherlanders who were trampled on the ground and could not resist in embarrassment, and the locomotive that was carried in Chen Tian's hands like a rag doll. They were all stunned in place. This. Shenhai held the hand of the steel fork, and there was an uncontrollable trembling, and his pupils flickered non-stop. Land was not his home turf. Now even the motherland and the locomotive have fallen, then he is even less a match for this strange teenager. We. The transparent man's voice was full of panic, and although his figure could not be observed with the naked eye, the location of this guy could still be determined. Because the ground where the transparent man stood has become a wet piece. As for the color wrapped in a black uniform from head to toe, not a word was spoken. Just kept staring at the motherland people at Chen Tian's feet. In fact, he is a replica of the motherland, born specifically to prevent the latter from being uncontrolled. Now seeing that the people of the motherland are not Chen Tian's opponents, then there is no doubt that Xuanhuan will naturally not be. And Queen Maeve's face was both amazed and her eyes flashed. But after seeing Chen Tian's indifferent gaze, it turned into endless fear. Because looking at Chen Tian's posture, he was obviously coming at the entire Walt company. And Queen Maeve, who was part of the company, knew that no one could organize Chen Tian. Then, the motherland lying on the ground. Okay, good. Looking at several of their teammates, all saw their embarrassed appearance. The resentment in my heart flowed to the extreme. Because in the past, these people were all in a posture of fear when facing themselves. And now he himself has become a pitiful worm in their eyes, he can't stand it, so he screams. And then, boom, was kicked unconscious by Chen Tian. He then threw the locomotive in his hand to the ground. In the process of capturing the locomotive just now, Chen Tian had already copied the other party's super speed. And now, looking at the few superheroes on the opposite side who were frozen in place, he began to feel bored. It seems that the entire black-robed pickets are only a few people who can see it. As for the others, they are not worth my special reproduction. Chen Tian frowned, his thoughts slowly flowing. Then, his eyes suddenly lit up, and the corners of his mouth re-outlined a smile. That's not right. I'm temporarily limited by my thoughts.